We are back, our final segment this morning, talking about obviously the holiday season upon us and how you're going to be dealing things with, perhaps elderly loved ones and the like or whatever during this pandemic. With us this morning is Lynn Wood, Caregiver Support Specialist, and Tom Starling, CEO, Mental Health America here in the Mid-South. Thank you both for joining us. There they are. And hey, look, this is our last segment. I've covered a lot of bases here, but you two are the experts along these lines. What perhaps have we not covered that you think we should put out there right now? It may be in your mind that we haven't touched on yet. Tom, a thought on that?
I just want to promote Lynn's opportunity. She is a caregiver support specialist for people who have dementia. We realize that caregiving brings along its own level of stress and depression. It's very difficult to ask for help, but help is available. And I think that if, we start to realize that 1 in 8 people over age 65 have dementia, or 50% of people over age 85 have dementia or some form of Alzheimer's is typically that form of dementia. I just think that that's very important to know. And there's new studies, there's new medications, there's new updates. But if you need help as a family member, we hope that you would call Mental Health America. If it's having that conversation about taking away the keys from mom and dad, looking at the different levels of care, finding the right help at the right time. And, Lynn even offers free in-home caregiver education. So she could come into your home or meet you at a Starbucks and say, the lighting in your house, the contrast of the food on the plates, better bathing, dressing techniques, anything that we could do to kind of help that caregiver retain their loved one at home or help them transition to, that next level of care. That's very important to us.
Lynn, go ahead.
You don't think about caregiving until you're doing it. So what got me into this type of work and working with caregivers, I can't do anything about mom or dad's dementia and what's happening to them, but I can help a family. The family are the ones who cognitively have the ability to change and to adjust to their loved one. If there's one thing, Nick, that I would say that we need to make sure we touch on is planning. Let's make decisions when mom or dad can help you make those decisions or tell you what they want. Let's write that stuff down. What we don't want are families having to make decisions out of an emotional time. Let's pre-plan. Let's know where our line in the sand is as a caregiver and know what happens next. So then we're not traumatized if that line in the sand, we hit it, and now nobody knows what we're going to do next.
Right.
Let's make sure. And so a lot of my caregiver conversations are about pre-planning, and let's talking about it, and let's make those decisions early on and put it aside and hope we never need it. But if we do, we've got it.
And to prepare, when you say pre-planning as a caregiver, if perhaps you still have loved ones maybe who are suffering some dementia at this point that are expecting to see people face to face and maybe haven't even fully grasped, the pandemic. And my mother's kind of like that now. I mean, she knows something's going on, but she's to that point with Alzheimer's where it's difficult. How do you go about maybe explaining it to them in such a way, and whether it stays with them or not, I don't know, so it doesn't upset them? That's a trick for me, I mean, as a caregiver, reaching out and just trying to, get their mind off it and find alternative ways for them to be satisfied, even though they're going to miss getting the hugs.
Well, I think that a wonderful word is tomorrow. Mm-hmm. A wonderful word is in a little bit. Or we're making plans. We'll be going shortly, and then you don't go.
Yeah.
If your loved one is talking about going somewhere for the holidays, it's also someone who has dementia. The damage that's happening in the brain. It's hard to focus on 2 different things at one time at a certain point. So if we can get that loved one involved in a purposeful, meaningful activity, then statistically speaking, the mind is going to not wonder about going to Aunt Betty's for Christmas, because now the mind is having to spend all of its energy on putting those photos in that photo album. Even if it's not done correctly, it's still an activity, and the brain can only focus on really one task at a time. So if your loved one is saying, when are we going? When are we going? When are we going? Well, we're going in a little while.
Yeah.
We're going in a little while. And that may not necessarily be untrue. You might be going a little while. It might just be next Thursday. But their time is not our time. So
exactly.
it is hard. But trying to explain to someone who has dementia about the pandemic and all the illness and all the deaths and all the stuff, it's not going to work.
You're right.
You're not going to be able to do that. So my advice is not even try.
I hope,
handle the questions as it comes, but don't try to explain it.
I hope people, and we have folks watching us on Facebook and as well as on the Plus right now, just heard what you said, because you are dead on point, and that's what the experts say. I learned some of that the hard way, but you don't want to lie to your loved ones, but to some degree what you have to do is, as you said, tomorrow. And when you put it off, it puts them at ease in that moment, and it goes to the next day and they forget about it. But that's a safe, easy way to help them move forward through the process. And really, if you walk away from anything from this show when you're dealing with a loved one in that situation, keep that in mind. Say, Mom, we'll do that tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow. Okay. And then you're good. Listen, that's all our time this morning, but I want to thank you both for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I think we can help a lot of folks. And remember, Mental Health America of the Mid-South is there to help. Thank you both, and both of you have a happy holiday, all right? Thank you so much. All right, I'll be back with a programming note right after this.